streamed it at the wrong place, so let me just restart the live. Shouldn't be there. Sorry about that.
No worries.
And let me share the videos. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Grind. And as promised, we are gonna be having a very special episode tonight. Right? We're gonna be talking about everything you need to know about cryptocurrency. I am no cryptocurrency expert, so it will always be best to have someone who has been doing this for a long time talk to you and make you understand more about cryptocurrency before kayo pumapasok. I know we've been teaching you this, guys, ever since. Whenever it comes to investments, always understand what you are getting into first, and these kinds of episodes is gonna help you with that. Okay, and tonight we are gonna be joined with a very special guest. Right, he is the previously he is the head of cryptocurrency program. He's the general manager of and the head of cryptocurrency program of coins.ph. Right, we've you know what coins.ph is. Most of us are using it, and we know that Coins.ph has crypto also, but that was his previous job. Now he is the director of Southeast Asia Growth and Marketing Operations in Binance. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome Colin Goltra. All right, Colin Goltra. All right, here we go. Let me just.
Hey Lloyd, thanks for having me.
All right,
Hey, Lloyd,
good
thanks
evening,
for having
man.
me.
Yeah. Can you please share more about your experience with crypto and how long have you been doing this, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. I'm Colin Goltra. As Lloyd mentioned at the top, I deal with growth in Southeast Asia markets for Binance. Binance is by volume, by liquidity, by active users, the largest cryptocurrency platform in the world.
Right.
We are an ecosystem that includes an exchange and a bunch of other sort of products, and we serve users around the globe. My own expertise, I have a background in both tech and finance. I'm Phil Am and originally from California,
Right.
but I've been in the Philippines since 2016. I originally came, as mentioned, to join Coins.ph. I kind of think of Coins.ph as the first step of the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency mission, where we wanted to make it easy to use.
Yeah.
And after spending many years there, I ended up leaving and joining Binance. And I think step two is it's kind of a step further in kind of the economic empowerment using cryptocurrency. So
Right.
I'm here to talk about markets, cryptocurrencies, the do's and don'ts, the pros and cons, things you should be careful of, and happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Right. Especially what we want to hear as investors is the future of crypto as a general, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, all right, if there is someone you need to ask about Bitcoin, about cryptocurrency, he's our guest right now. So please prepare your questions about whatever it is about cryptocurrency. Mr. Colin Goltra is gonna do his best, right, to answer you guys. And what's up? Let's go ahead. Let me just check out the chat and the stream if we are good to go. And a request from our end. This is gonna be a very fruitful evening. What we're gonna be talking about is gonna be very, very good. So a little favor from our end. Hopefully we've earned this request from you guys. Please share this video to your walls, right? This is very, very good for newbies, especially our friends who do not know about or who do not understand, or at least who is not yet that ready for embracing cryptocurrency, diba? So this is gonna be a very good episode for them. So please share this to your walls, to your investment groups, in your trading groups if you have any. Hopefully we've earned that request. Thank you so much. And yeah, Colin, off the bat, can you share? Sige, investors' perspective, because majority of us here in this live are investors, right?
Of course, yeah.
What can you share?
You're my
about
people, the investors. Yeah,
right?
That's who we want to talk to. So it's good.
Right. What can you share to us about crypto for an investor's point of view?
Yeah, certainly. So, I think right now cryptocurrencies are particularly hot because I think people are seeing the very staggering gains that cryptocurrencies have made in recent months. So the most notable cryptocurrency, as hopefully many people have heard of, is called Bitcoin. This time last year, Bitcoin was something like $10,000, something like that, which is
Right.
a lot of money per Bitcoin already. But now Bitcoin's at about $52,000 per coin. And by the way, certainly that's very expensive per coin, but you can buy tiny pieces of a Bitcoin. So if you wanted to start allocating, 1,000 pesos a month, even, that's very possible. So by no means is 50,000 the minimum buy-in, but essentially, Bitcoin is capturing right now, I think, a lot of trends that are going on globally and certainly on the internet, right? So as investors, I think some of the macro, you would call them macro tailwinds, right? Some of the things that are supporting the current Bitcoin investment thesis is a few things. So prior to cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, scarcity was not possible on the internet, right? So if you think about like a digital file, or something like if I were to send you like an audio file for your favorite song, there would be nothing preventing you from copying that song, sending it to all your friends. Same with the photo, right? Like if I take a photo on my smartphone and I can send it to anyone, there's no way to guarantee scarcity of the file, right? And so Bitcoin is built on this technology architecture, right? There's this new way of building on the internet called the blockchain, and Bitcoin is built on it. And so Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies can guarantee uniqueness and scarcity, right? So if I were to send you a Bitcoin, there'd be I can prove that there's no other way, that there's no other copies of the Bitcoin other than the one I sent you, right? And so for the first time, you can kind of rely on digital assets or digital goods to be scarce, and scarcity is a big driver of value, right? So, I think Bitcoin's been around for a little over 12 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. And, basically 12 years of people trying to find a vulnerability in Bitcoin and stuff. And so it's got kind of a bit of a track record now that despite many attempts, it hasn't been hacked. It's provably scarce, these sorts of things. And then the interesting thing is there will only ever be 21 million total Bitcoins, right? So however much economic value happens in the internet, like going back to maybe math a little bit, right? There's the numerator and the denominator, and a price is the division of that, right? So there's only ever going to be a fixed amount of the denominator. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins. And that scarcity is similar to maybe like gold or something, is very valuable, especially in an age where central banks around the world are printing money, and like asset prices around the world are continuing to rise. And so Bitcoin, because it's provably scarce, serves as kind of a digital gold, and it's valuable for that reason. And so I think that's the major macro thing. And then I think the reason it's kind of continued to compound in the last year is that thesis has been proven out a bit. And now many institutions around the world are starting to buy into the Bitcoin thesis, right? So publicly traded companies have invested in Bitcoin. It started with this company called MicroStrategy, which was like this old publicly traded software company that people didn't really talk about. But they invested something like, I think they're something like 150 million at first, but US dollars, and now they continue to raise that stake. And so they've been a very successful stock. And then Square, which is a popular fintech company founded by Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, they invested in it. And then very recently, and I think part of the reason that there's such a frenzy and a recent rally is Elon Musk announced that Tesla invested in Bitcoin. And so these are large, proven, regulated, public treasuries, right? That have a lot to lose and should not be taking really, should not be doing dangerous things with investor money. And they're putting it into Bitcoin because the narrative around Bitcoin has continued to prove out over many years, right? So I'd say those are, and then actually the other thing that is like a lot of very famous investors, like hedge fund managers from Wall Street and kind of around the world have started to invest in Bitcoin as well. So cryptocurrencies are kind of in this interesting moment where, we've worked very hard for many years, and the use cases and the thesis is starting to be more widely understood by the public.
True. All right, so we have a few questions here. Let's go through this. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to read everyone right now. We want, minsan lang natin makasama si Colin. All right, so I want to maximize the time we have with Colin, and I'll just go general good evening to everyone. There's so many comments right now. I want to go directly to the questions. Jape Malendog. Question: what's the best wallet for altcoins considering ADA, Link, and XRP? Thanks. Right. So, yeah, can you answer this, man?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So there's a few things I would point to. So one, there's two different types of wallets, right? There's one called a hosted wallet, and then there's one called a non-custodial wallet, right? So a hosted wallet is through a company that manages your funds on your behalf, right? So Binance, the exchange, has a hosted wallet that allows you to interact with pretty much every coin, right? I think we have one of the longest lists of inventory in the space, right?
Right.
So that you can manage a lot of your funds using just the Binance wallet, right? But a lot of times people also like to custody it, which means it's not hosted on the exchange, right?
Yes.
Even though exchanges, there's a history of sometimes exchanges being faulty and stuff, and so sometimes people prefer to custody the funds themselves.
Right.
For that, Binance has a solution called Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet is mobile first, so it's on your phone. All the funds are stored on your phone, right? So your phone really becomes a bank, and that allows you to interact with a lot of different sort of altcoin projects and tokens in general. And then maybe a third type of wallet, which Binance doesn't have a direct solution for at the moment, is hardware wallets, or maybe another option, which is you store your coins kind of in like a USB drive,
right?
And then you can take them off of the internet, and you basically can store them somewhere safe, right? So those are the kind of options I would point to. And so Binance has, I would say, leading solutions in both. So Trust Wallet, I think, is the largest non-custodial kind of mobile wallet in the world, and Binance is the largest exchange in the world and has pretty strong wallet architecture.
Right, good. Because I would go for the first option, man. Because I've read so many articles in the internet where they lost their bitcoins because they're keeping custody of it and it's not managed. So whenever you lose your phone, you lose your hard drive, man. That's gone.
There's a terrifying story that I'll tell. It unrelated to our company or anything, but basically there's some guy who's been holding Bitcoin for a long time,
right?
And I think he has like $272 million or something like that,
right?
Locked in a hard drive,
right?
And he's like down to basically the wallet will delete or permanently lock him out if he doesn't.
Last password.
Yeah, right. Exactly. If he runs out of attempts, right? So, I think he's got like 2 tries left, and so he's basically he's racked his brain for what the password could be, and so he's literally out of tries to get like more than $200 million, and so that's a terrifying thought. Yeah, so that's definitely there's trade-offs to both. I think one of the things people should understand about cryptocurrency is because you're taking control of your own finances, and Bitcoin allows you to kind of own your money or own your wealth directly.
Yes.
That comes with a lot of responsibility. So do you want to put that do you want to trust that responsibility with an exchange like Binance? Do you want to trust yourself to be careful with everything and not forget your password? And so there's kind of there's a lot of reward, but there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that reward.
True. So that's a fun and a sad story for him, man.
Yeah.
But anyways,
maybe he'll still guess it right. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a happy story for him.
But what I know is if that's gone, it's gone forever, right? No one can use it. No one. It adds to the scarcity that you mentioned earlier, right?
Exactly. The value permanently destroys. Yeah.
Right. All right. So we have another question from Lyra. Right, Lyra Cruz. How does crypto work, and who controls the crypto network? Very good question here for a newbie, right? For those who don't really understand.
Yeah. Right. Great question. Yeah, I couldn't have asked it better myself. So,
yes.
We think about the existing financial system, right? And there's a lot of trust, right? You're trusting banks, and you're trusting, in the case of stock investing, you're trusting brokerages.
True.
You're trusting, central banks that control the currency. You're trusting sort of regulators, right? There's tons of controls, and when people are allowed to control something, rule can become arbitrary, right? So you don't always know the bank can change policies, the central bank or the treasury can change their policies.
True.
And this has effects on what happens to your thing, right?
Right.
And the reason for that is that they're controlled at a central point, right? A single person or a single entity or a single institution gets to control the decisions of that network, right? So your bank gets to control the decisions of your banking network because they control it. They are the network, right? So with Bitcoin, it's a little bit different, right? So I was talking about the blockchain, right? So the blockchain is the technology that it's built on top of, right? And so the major innovation in the blockchain is most people think of, most people use databases, right, for your banks, right? So if you're at a modern bank, or your brokerage firm or something, really they're keeping track of all your transactions in a database, and
right.
They have security for the database and stuff, but you're trusting them to record what your balance is. You're trusting them to not get the balance wrong. Like, what if they knock off a zero and you lose, you lose like 10% of your, or you lose like 90% of your wealth, right? So like you're trusting that they'll get the numbers right and that their people won't mess things up and stuff, right? So that's all in a database, but it's because the database is very efficient, right? And so what the blockchain does is they actually said, you know what, we're going to make something that's less efficient, but it'll be less prone to errors, right? And so instead of basically having the bank having one database where one transaction is recorded, right? So, you're trusting, BPI, BDO, whatever, to, when I give 1,000 pesos, you trust them that they're in their database, they're going to add 1,000 pesos to your account. What instead the blockchain does is everyone participating in the network is recording the transaction down, right? So when you put it in, everyone writes, Lloyd just added 1,000 pesos to his account, right? And because of that, if someone wants to say, no, he didn't, he only put 500 in, everyone would know that person is lying because everyone saw the transaction happen, right? And so because of that, you're trading off efficiency, but it's a very truthful process.
True.
And because of that, you can do it so that in a way, everyone kind of controls it, right? It's decentralized. There's not a single institution that is telling you yes or no that this happened, right? Everyone's recording it all of a sudden. And so because of that, like, everyone kind of controls the network simultaneously. And so it's a little bit of a hard concept to wrap your head around, but like maybe no one controls email, right? Instead, people use email. You would call it a protocol, right? So it's like, if you want to participate in it, you have to follow the rules of email, but no one really sets the rules of email anymore, right? And so, it's something very unique to the internet. And so that's kind of why people think it's an evolution. It's like money for the internet age.
True. Just to make it clear, when Colin says,
a lot of complicated concepts, but
when Colin says,
happy to break it down.
Right. When Colin says everyone, it's not you with the wallet. You don't have to join that everyone, right? These are the miners, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Colin.
Totally, yeah.
Yes.
Great
So these are the miners. They have a computer that is set for mining. That's for calculating Bitcoin, and for the records, for the transactions. They help, right? They help with monitoring the transactions. And there are so many miners all around the world, and these are the people who are participating. This is what Colin pertains to when he says everyone, right, participating in the crypto. If you have a wallet, doesn't really mean that you're part of that everyone who is recording it, but the record is there. That's done by all the miners out there, and they earn something from the transaction fees. So because they helped in recording the transaction, doing the calculating and etc., they earn a portion of the transaction fee. So they get something out of it also if you participate. So that's one way to earn also in Bitcoin, right? So let's go to the next question.
I will say,
go.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. And mining is, I think, a very, Bitcoin has been around for 12 years already, right? So it is become a more specialized industry. So, do your research before this, deciding if mining is right for you, because sometimes people try to mine, but the electricity is just the electricity you would need to do that, something like that, would actually make it not profitable, right?
Right. If you were doing it 12 years before, I will be profitable. I basically got exposed with investing with the stock market because of mining. Right? I was mining before, but I didn't trade my bitcoins. Whenever I get the bitcoins, I sell it right away in the market. It was just playing around $800 to $1,000 before. Wasn't there when the crypto boom happened. So so I missed it. Anyways, that's okay. So many opportunities in the world. Crypto is just one of it. Let's go to the next question. how does crypto work? Yeah, we already covered this. Alan Arieta has a question. Coach, pwede po ba makabili ng Bitcoin kahit small capital lang po? Very good question. Yeah, Colin understands Tagalog, so most probably Colin knows the answer also. Go ahead, Colin.
Sorry, what was the thing about Bitcoin?
Pwede bang makabili ng Bitcoin kahit small capital lang?
Like how do you invest in it with just a little bit of capital?
Yeah, so can you buy Bitcoin with small capitals?
Yeah, so certainly. So I mentioned that there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin,
right?
And the the price per Bitcoin right now is like $51,000.
It hit 52,000 earlier.
What? Yeah,
it hit 52,000.
I just checked just now because it's 51.2.
Right.
So $51,200. It's a high amount. That's definitely not the amount that you need to get started, right? And in fact, that if that were the case, I think Binance would be out of business because no one could get started, right? So you can buy a tiny fraction of a Bitcoin. You could, in theory, buy 1 peso worth of Bitcoin. You could, in theory, buy a very, very small amount of Bitcoin. So, I think that you can just start with a little bit, and it's potentially will grow over time, and there's not a minimum. Yeah.
Right. So there's a question here from Jover Frias, but about the coin PH to so we'll not answer that. It will be best if ever you ask coins PH about it.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time there. I think it was a very formative experience, but unfortunately I no longer work at coins PH for now. Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, we won't know the answer, man.
Yeah.
We are not the best.
I haven't worked there for a couple of years.
We're not the best people to answer this question, so we'll skip that. Pasensya na. Here we go. Adriano Mendoza. Sir, good evening. Pataas po ba ang Bitcoin at ETH? Balita ko aabot ng 6 million pesos daw. Ano po sa tingin nyo? So the question is, will Bitcoin and Ethereum reach will it still go up? There is a news that it might reach 6 million pesos. What is our take? Can I answer this?
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
Again, man, ulitin ko. I will tell you this every day in the daily grind. No one can predict the future, okay? No one can predict the future. Yeah. It can reach 6 million peso. There's a possibility, but there's also a possibility that it will drop. So we can't tell. Majority we invest because we speculate. We think that it is gonna grow, and that's what Colin is here for, to add to our inputs, so to help you decide, right? To help you decide. Okay. So Jorin Golope, there's a question: what are the factors affecting the price of cryptocurrency? All right, this is Colin can answer this.
Yeah, great one. So I talked earlier that there's been a lot more demand for it, right? Because the use cases have been proven out, right? So I think there's been an increase in demand,
right?
And it's because the investment thesis, I think, has continued to kind of prove out, right? I think I heard something interesting today, which was like, Bitcoin is potentially the only asset in the world, well, other cryptocurrencies too, right, where actually big money is more interested in it the higher it goes, right? So when Bitcoin was a market cap of $1 billion, it was, at that point, it was, that would have been like $10 Bitcoin or something, right? That was not interesting to, big hedge funds or big sovereign wealth funds and stuff. That wasn't interesting because that was still a risk. Like, you couldn't understand it as much. But actually, like, when Bitcoin gets really large, right? And I think Bitcoin is flirting with $1 trillion in market cap, that becomes kind of a real asset class. And when it becomes, quote unquote, a real asset class, one that's investable by institutions, that's when they start to put their money in. So, right, there is something to that, which I think is interesting. It's like one of the only assets that people want. People want the more that it actually grows in value. And then I think the other interesting, thing is basically Bitcoin's the reward that Bitcoin miners get every block, right? So Lloyd mentioned that we've got this whole, there's all these computers called miners that are getting rewarded to help with transactions in the network, and that takes a lot of electricity. They get a reward every 10 minutes, and so over time that reward goes down, right? Because Bitcoin's price has gone up, and so right now it's like 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, but this is across a big network of computers, right? So basically the amount of new supply entering the market goes down every 4 years, whereas demand keeps going up, right? And so if demand keeps rising and supply keeps falling, if you know some basic economics, like the way you solve that is that prices must increase, right? And so that has been a major driver. And then so that's on the Bitcoin side. That's been one of the very noticeable cryptocurrencies. And then on some of maybe the altcoins, Ethereum has a very interesting ecosystem lately called decentralized finance. People are building projects and applications using things like Ethereum. Binance actually has its own token that's compatible with many of the Ethereum projects called Binance Smart Chain, and you can also use it on Binance itself. And so other tokens are building new products and use cases, and that building new use cases increases demand for the token. So over time, the longer things survive, the more proven their use case gets to be, and demand kind of has risen in that sense.
True. All right. So let's move forward. What are the factors affecting the price of cryptocurrency? We already talked about this. They say that Bitcoin could reach 100K by the end of the year. It's not even possible. There's a possibility that it will. There's a possibility that it won't. We can't really tell, right? David Cabal, because if ever we just know the future, there's no point in trading. Just buy it right away, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, right. Exactly. If you knew the future would immediately come, right?
Right. David Cabal, this is from David Cabal. What could you say is the advantage of trading crypto over stocks, right? Yeah, Colin, can you go?
Yeah, absolutely. So certainly, I guess it's important to remember that they're very different asset classes.
Right.
So if you are a very experienced trader, an advantage of cryptocurrency is actually that it's very volatile, right? And so, a great trader will make money on the up and on the down, right? So what you actually want is a highly volatile thing, volatile liquid market, right? And so the large cap cryptocurrencies have that, definitely, right? And actually the smaller cap ones also are even more volatile, right? So, they're, chart patterns and, human psychology stays the same, but there's increased volatility. But what I will say is, I will caution, it competes with stocks just in that it takes capital and it takes human time and stuff, but they are very different asset classes, right? Like, a token is something where you're participating in a network on the internet, and a stock is in theory a right to future cash flows or a proxy for cash flows. Things in crypto sometimes they generate cash flow, but sometimes they're just kind of like internet commodities.
True.
And the whole ecosystem is very different. And then actually the reason it's so volatile is if you think about when was the first stock created, right? The first stock was created in like the 1700s or the 1800s in like Amsterdam, right? Like the Dutch stock exchange and stuff. And so stocks if you think of stocks as a technology, they've been around for at least 200 or 300 years, right? And so that's a long time of price discovery, right? We have a good understanding of how stocks as an asset class perform because they've been around for hundreds of years.
Yes,
you think about gold. Gold is even longer, right? Gold is thousands of years, and so gold is less volatile because we have, as humans, we have a much longer pricing history of how we think about gold.
Right.
Cryptocurrency, the oldest cryptocurrency is 12 years old, and we're still building infrastructure, we're still proving use cases, and all of that leads to volatility, right? So volatility is both an advantage and a disadvantage, and so be careful with what you're doing. But if you're a pro trader and you want liquidity and volatility, cryptocurrency might be the place for you.
True. All right, good. Thanks for the answer, Colin. Let's go to YouTube,
Yeah.
right? We're also live on YouTube right now, so let me go
So,
to
hey,
YouTube
YouTube.
and right, and let me get a question here from Jarin Tapik. All right, Idol, may I ask about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the valuation. What is the valuation in the future? Gold versus Bitcoin, which is better to invest in? Basically, Colin already answered it. The good thing about gold is that it's been there for a very long time already. So we as humans already have basically a pattern for it, right? Whenever
great way to put it.
whenever there's something wrong with the world, it goes up. Yeah. If ever everything is cool, it goes down. We know about it already. So basically, it's a safe haven. Bitcoin is not that yet, right? Bitcoin has been here for just 12 years, right? But again, it's also good because it causes volatility, right? Volatility, if you're a trader, you like an asset to be volatile because the swings can give you so much money, right? But if you know how to use volatility on your side, because it can be a double-edged sword. Your stock stop losses are very low, like 5%, 3%. Is because it moves slow, right? But here in Bitcoin, if you have a stop loss of just 5%, Bitcoin is gonna run through your stop losses and for it just to return back up. So it's very challenging, man.
Yeah. It's a more aggressive bull or something, right? It's harder.
Right.
It's harder to ride it, right? Or it's a more aggressive horse.
Right. It will hit through your stop losses 5%, 10% for it just to go back up 20%. So it's gonna be very frustrating for you if you don't know how to take advantage of this volatility, right?
So what I'll say though,
yes.
real quickly about that though, right? Volatility is maybe the thing that like short-term traders look for, right? Like if people are looking to flip quickly and track markets and charts and stuff,
True.
That's the thing. The thing we advocate for is long-term vision, right? I think our company tries to be very long-term thinking,
right?
And so maybe to add to that part, right? The case for a trader is maybe volatility and liquidity and a global market.
Mm-hmm.
The case for an investor is that this is a new asset class.
Right.
I think the internet is here to stay, and this is money that's native to the internet, right? Just like every new country needs to eventually create their money or their money system. True. The internet is kind of not even a new country, it's a new world. And we need to have money that is native to the internet. And so, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have so far been our exploration into how would money that is native to the internet look, right?
True.
And so that is the big long-term vision for this thing, right? And that's why it's got such a kind of crazy, long-term use case and long-term value appreciation so far.
True. All right. So here's another question here from Al L. Mahirap mag-register sa Binance, laging nare-reject. Low fees sana sa crypto, right? Binance is one of the lowest fees for crypto. So there's another question here. Is Binance a good platform to use, sir? Yes, because the fees are low and they've been one of the largest right now, right? So the track record will tell you.
What I'll say is Binance has a very different business model than most of the exchanges or most of the platforms for cryptocurrency that you're used to in the Philippines, right? In the Philippines, we talked about CoinsPH, these sorts of things. It's hard to source liquidity and trade it into cryptocurrencies. So Binance, though, on the other hand, is very liquid, right? Because we have users from all over the world.
Right.
And actually, what I'll say is, where we make our money is not even just basic trading. We have a whole ecosystem of products, right? So we try to make money in a lot of different places. And so actually, if you're just trying to buy Bitcoin, or Ethereum or maybe some stable coins, that actually is zero fees on Binance. And the place you do that is the Binance peer-to-peer marketplace. And so that's something where it's like, we will connect you guys to, we will connect buyers and sellers because that allows them to trade directly. And that is done at actually zero fees. So zero fees to Binance at least, right? Because the sellers choose their price and the buyers choose their price. But on our peer-to-peer marketplace, we are, I don't hesitate in saying this, we are consistently, basically almost always the top the best price on both the buy and the sell side in the country.
Right.
And that's because the way we facilitate that transaction is different than other platforms in the Philippines.
Sure. Just to expound on that, because I know we have followers here are not techie, who don't understand what peer-to-peer is. It's basically like this. Let's say, for example, ikaw, you're watching right now, and you want to contact me. Sir Lloyd, do you have Bitcoin there? Can I buy it? And I tell you yes, and I sell it to you. Then we agree on a price. Let's say, for example, as of the moment, 52,000 yung Bitcoin, but you're gonna be buying so much from me, so I can give you a discount at 50,000 per Bitcoin na rate, and we can exchange it directly through Binance peer-to-peer option. That's for free. So you can buy my Bitcoin for free. Binance doesn't doesn't charge us for that connection.
Yeah, and if you would like, I can just take a quick look at my screen here. So there is another notable platform. I won't say which one. The current buy price for Bitcoin is 2.56 million pesos, and the sell price is 2.44 million. On Binance, the best buy price on Binance peer-to-peer, the best buy price is 2.54 million, right? So it's 2.54 million versus 2.56 million. So that's a difference of 20,000 pesos.
Right.
Right. We're talking in millions, so it's 0.2 difference, but that 0.2 means 20,000 pesos, right? 0.02 difference, right?
Right.
Yeah, 0.02 difference, right? And so that is a gigantic difference, right? That's a huge difference in the buy price, and then on the sell price, we're looking at 2,438,000 versus
Binance
2,492,000, right? So that's an even bigger difference, right? 38 versus 92. And so it's because we have an ecosystem of other places to make money. And so if you're just trying to get started, the peer-to-peer marketplace at Binance is the best place to do it because of the way it's facilitated. That's not where we make our money. Yeah.
All right. Very good. There's a good question right here. This is from Kevin Ilagan. This is from YouTube. With so many cryptocurrencies available right now, how can you choose which one is good to invest with?
Yeah. So I do want to be careful, right? I don't. When you are the exchange, you want to be careful of giving investment advice, right? So,
right.
I would say a few ways I would point to. I think the ultimate rule of investing is do your own research, right?
Right.
And so in order to do that, we have two things for you at Binance. We have actually maybe three things. We have a site called coinmarketcap.com, which will get you which will give you data on market caps and charts and statistics for different tokens. Two, we have Binance Academy. Binance Academy is a bunch of free articles, videos, instructional things, and that will tell you the basics of blockchain and distributed systems and cryptocurrencies, trading, technologies, right? So that'll teach you kind of the ropes. And then the third thing I would say is we have Binance Research, where we have statistics, research reports, things that investors will care about, right? So that's where I would point people, right? Is there's a lot of platforms, some of them are owned, some of them, by other providers as well, that will give you statistics and information about a token. And then, be careful. Definitely, it's a high risk endeavor. But I mean, some of the new projects, right, are, maybe it's a project that will help you, that'll help people, provide a new financial service on one of the different smart contracting blockchains.
Right.
Maybe it's a new asset that, there's a lot of new ideas right now. So it's hard to even point to one thing, but I'd say probably start with understanding how the blockchain works and why it works the way it does.
Right.
And then building up from there about what applications are going to be interesting using this technology, and then, start to invest in the ones that you think are promising.
All right. If I can add to that, just we'll give you a heads up. Colin is involved is with Binance, so he's not really allowed to comment on other coins. So medyo limited yung information na may bibigay niya. But I can. But I can. Right.
Feel free. It's your show.
When mining Bitcoin, it was just Bitcoin available before. Ethereum wasn't even there before. But man, right now, the reason why I did not like Bitcoin on the first boom is because it was in demand for its trading, well, not for its use. But right now, it's a different case, right? It's now becoming the businesses are open with it. We just heard about Elon Musk accepting Bitcoin for transaction in his companies. So yeah, it's now becoming accepted, right? And if you want to ask me what cryptocurrency should you invest in, research about the use and who are open to use it. Basically, you invest because it's being used worldwide, right? The more acceptance that coin has, the bigger it is. It will become. It will most likely become in the future.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What I will say is, right, a cryptocurrency is very different than a stock, but it still is. There's still some things you'd want to track, right? Like if you're looking at a company's stock, you might want to know, okay, how many customers do they have? What are the customers' behavior? These sorts of things, right? And in the same way, if it's a cryptocurrency project, you might want to say, okay, what does the currency do? How many people are using it? Are they using it in a way that makes sense? Does it have growth potential, right? So that, like, some of the fundamental questions are still the same questions to ask. There's a lot of different tools and portals and stuff for that kind of research.
All right. So hopefully we were able to answer your questions. We have a few minutes left, so we'll just run through the questions. Let me see. Meron ako hindi nasasagot na nababasa pa dito. Let's go back to Facebook Live. All right. How much fees when buying all and selling cryptocurrencies? You will know about this once you open the brokerage account. Binance is one of the cheapest out there. So open a Binance account, right? Open a Binance account. Siguro we'll spend. Yeah, can we spend the last 7? No, at 8:50 we'll start with Colin walking us through the platform. So we have 2 minutes more to read the questions. Scarcity of Bitcoin is the source of its value. Was the 21 million randomly dictated by Satoshi? Where do the cryptocurrencies base their value? Right. So let's start with the 21 million. Where did that value come from? It would be nice if Colin answers this.
So that value has been known from the start, right? That value was dictated by Satoshi, and there was a mathematical reason for it. I think it was like, it's literally like the value of, right? So the first block size of the block reward was 50 Bitcoins back in 2010. So if you were a miner, you got the miners shared 10 or 50 Bitcoins every 10 minutes, which is crazy, right? But yeah, that's the mathematical sum of like 50 times 10,000 blocks or something like that, right? Like it's the sum of like 50 for a bunch of blocks and then 25 and then 12.5. And so 21 million has like a mathematical value, right? Of why it'll max out at that. And that was determined at the start.
Right. It was really already invented. The equation is already there. Bitcoin is started from an equation, and the equation is being solved by so many miners. That's where the miners come in. They help in breaking down this equation. But that equation will max out at 21 million. It's already predetermined by that equation. Can't go more than that. So that is where the 21 million come from. During Galope, what are the factors affecting the price of crypto? Supply and demand mainly. Okay, Jobs.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Garavillo, do I need a Bitcoin miner when I open a blockchain account? Jobs. Colin?
No, you don't. And in fact, it's probably best to just get started by learning about it and maybe investing in it. Right. Mining is
expensive.
Mining is not something necessarily for beginners unless you're really experienced in, the people who are well equipped to do Bitcoin mining already know about Bitcoin mining, right? So it's people with access to very specialized servers and different hardware technology to do that, and it's better in countries with cheap electricity and cooling and all this stuff. So it's a highly specialized industry, whereas buying and selling Bitcoin is still something for everyone.
All right, thanks, man. I guess that's all for the question for this evening. We'll spend the rest of the time that we have for Colin. He will walk us through the platform of Binance. Go ahead, Colin. You can share your screen, please.
Yeah, I will share screen here. Tab. All right. So this is. Oh, sorry. Can you see my screen?
It should be there. All right. There we go. Go. All
right. So this is the Binance homepage. This is just literally Binance.com. We have here some of our, at any given point, we're doing a bunch of promos. We have charts and prices for some of the top coins. Dogecoin was popular recently, and so that's on the homepage right now. BNB is the native Binance token. It's actually having a very good day. It's up more than 30%. Some of the access to our products, right? So we have, if you don't want to access it on the web, you can access it on mobile. We also have a desktop client for your computer. And then if you are a developer, we have Binance APIs to build products onto Binance, right? We have support and a blog, a community, these sorts of things, right? So we have a bunch of products here. I will take you to the main Binance account, and this is not my main account, so don't try anything. It's kind of sprawling here. We have a bunch of different wallets here. So this is spot. So this is our spot trading, and I can show you what that looks like here. This is the marketplace, right? So this is the chart for, this is the one-day chart for Bitcoin. This looks very good. You can see that back in, what date is this? In August of 2020, it was at like less than $12,000. It was about 11.6. And today yesterday was at 52.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is, you can look through all our markets here. So these are all our markets. You can do them in a bunch of different pairs. You can do them against stable coins if you don't want to take risk, right? So that's just like trading against the US dollar. You can do them in like Bitcoin here. So we have a lot. We have potentially the largest list of altcoins of any exchange of any like centralized exchange in the world, right? So we have a huge variety, right? Like you can, I don't even know what some of these are, right? I know what this one is, right? This is NMR, which is Numeraire. It's a crypto hedge fund. Maybe this isn't the right chart. Maybe this is the right chart for it, the 1 hour chart. And so, yeah, we have charting tools here. We have the order book. You can kind of see it here. You can see all the trades. And then this is where you place your order, buy and sell. What I'll say also is we have, if you're someone that understands kind of the risks, we do have leverage in a lot of products, right? So, or margin, sorry, in a lot of products. So, this is ADA, which is a popular coin called Cardano. So if you wanted to do leverage on this, right? So you can do trade it on margin. You can trade it on 10x margin. Going back to the main wallet, so that was the spot exchange. We also have wallets for peer-to-peer. We have margin, which I kind of showed already. We have futures, which is kind of an even more sophisticated product. So here, let's go to, here we go. So here's USD margin futures. And so similar order book style to what I just showed you, but this is essentially, instead you're trading futures, right? You have to open a futures account to trade it. You do it here. Then maybe a couple more products I want to show, because we do have a bunch of stuff. So we have a really interesting product suite called Binance Earn. And Binance Earn is actually a wallet that allows you to get yield. So you're not trading, you're just depositing your funds and getting passive income on them, right? So if you deposit Bitcoin, you get about 1.2% per annum, annual rate on that Bitcoin. But like, if you deposit these are stable coins for US dollar and stuff, and you can get a 6% return just on your US dollar by keeping it in the savings account.
All right.
So that's a pretty interesting one. And then the last one I'll show here is, I'm switching tabs here. This is this is Binance peer-to-peer. So you go here and you find the PHP, right? We have a bunch of international currencies, right? You can see, CAD's Canadian dollar, Chinese yuan, and all these others. And so here is where you can find people buying and selling cryptocurrencies directly. And this is, if you have a Philippine bank account, this is where you can go and buy, not even just the bank account, but Gcash, Paymaya, a bunch of other e-wallets, I think Grab and a bunch of others. And so this is actually where you can go and you find an order that maybe makes sense, right? So Crypto Law here is the name of the vendor, and they are, they're selling, so you can buy at a rate of 2.5, and here's how much is available. He takes bank transfers or Paymaya, and so we facilitate that. And this marketplace here has 0 fees. So if you want to just get started in Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, or even just buy stable coins like USDT and BNB, BOC and DAI, this is probably the best place to get started, because you can use, I'll close my screen now. You can use your existing bank account. You can make the payment directly, and there's 0 fees, right? So that's, in my opinion, the best place to get started, because it's probably the cheapest rates, and it's the most, it's very convenient with a bank account or an e-wallet.
Right.
Yeah, I hope that was clear. I kind of showed you, that was a very quick demo, but Binance has, as I mentioned, a whole bunch of services related to cryptocurrency. We see ourselves not as just an exchange or anything like that. We see ourselves as many different products, all trying to advance the cryptocurrency mission.
Right. So yeah, it was just a run through, but thank you so much, Colin. Right, at least you get an idea what you will see. Anyways, the most common there, right there is the home the trading site, where you just look for what coin do you have. Just for you to understand, you have to buy Bitcoin first, and then use that Bitcoin to trade other cryptos. Actually,
no. You can. Sorry to correct you, but actually,
sure.
On Binance peer-to-peer, you can trade pesos to stable coins. So you can actually go directly to like US dollar. There's this thing called a stable coin, which is basically a token representation of a dollar. So if you want to just trade an altcoin that you're very passionate about, you can go from pesos to like BUSD, which is a stable coin, and then BUSD you can trade against that altcoin. And you're maybe denominating your returns in USD instead of in BTC, right? Because so actually it's even more flexible than that, is what I would say.
All right, that's good then. I was looking at my friend who was trading Binance before, and that was how they trade other altcoins, right? Basically, the BTC is already your main currency, and then you can buy.
BTC, most tokens trade against BTC because it's very liquid, right? So but that does happen. But then a disadvantage of that, if you're thinking in dollar terms or in peso terms, is that then you're also you're then having to track 2 prices, basically.
True.
Because BTC is very volatile, and then whatever altcoin you want to trade is also volatile. Whereas dollars are a lot more stable for now, right? So
true.
Okay.
Alright, so siguro last 2 questions. We still have enough time for that. Let's go to the last question kasi medyo natakpan na yung iba eh. Is pool mining still profitable? It's still profitable if you have... Basta, ito for mining questions, I am not really updated right now, but my friends who are mining, they are using solar panels para libre yung electricity nila so that they can be profitable. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to have many of the best miners,
right.
They have some sort of edge. So they're doing it with solar, or they're doing it near, a place with subsidized electricity or geothermal. And so mining really goes to wherever, whatever countries have advantages for that. So consider that if you decide to do mining is like, do you have an edge on electricity? And
True.
it's so competitive that, it's down to where you get your electricity that actually matters. So
True.
yeah, it's a highly competitive place. But
yes.
if you do decide to mine, Binance Pool, we have a mining pool, and it's one of the largest pools in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So we have a solution for that too. We kind of want to be, we want to have solutions for everything in crypto. But if you do decide to do mining, we have Binance Pool, and that's a good way to do it.
Alright, so yeah, pwede po ba online banking transfer para sa deposit sa Binance? Yeah, this discussion we can answer. This is from Adriano Mendoza. Can we use online transfer for deposit in Binance like BDO and BPI?
Yeah, so at the moment, you can, but you have to do it via our peer-to-peer marketplace. So you're not sending the funds to Binance. So we never touch your cash. But what instead happens, so Lloyd, if you and I were going to do a peer-to-peer transaction, say I have Bitcoin and you want the Bitcoin and you have, a BDO account. I could say, okay, you give me 10,000 pesos from BDO, and I'll give you 10,000 worth of Bitcoin. And so what the peer-to-peer marketplace says is, okay, Colin, you have to deposit the 10,000, 10,000 pesos worth of BTC. And then Lloyd sends it to you, and then he confirms. This is called escrow. And then you confirm when you send it, and then I confirm when I receive it, and then it deposits in your Binance account.
All right.
Right. So in that way, you are doing a bank account to get Bitcoin onto Binance, but Binance is actually not the one touching the money. So that's kind of what peer-to-peer means in that context.
Okay.
But then you would then have Bitcoin on Binance, and then you could trade on the platform.
All right. There are questions here about XRP and other coins. Siguro we'll have a different session about that.
Yeah, cool.
We'll have a trader who really trades and who really is more into the technical stuff in the future, right? Definitely, we'll feature.
And he won't have a filter. He can talk. He can say whatever he wants. I got to be careful sometimes because it's like imagine if someone that was like a manager at the stock exchange said this is a bad stock or this is a good stock, right? People would be really upset, right? So I can sometimes explain what's going on and that sort of thing, but I do try to be careful because it would be unfair to give advantage to stuff, right? Bitcoin has been around for a long time, and even then, I'm not telling you what the price of Bitcoin is. I'm telling you how it works, why other people are interested in it. But yeah, in general, we do try to be careful about discussing price or saying what project is good or bad. We just try to give people a choice.
Yes, right. But don't worry, man. To answer those questions next week, right? We're gonna announce when that is gonna be so that we can talk about altcoins for those who are interested in investing in cryptocurrency. Man, abangan you next week. We're gonna have an episode about it. But for now, what Colin gave us is already very, very informative. Thank you so much for the time that you gave us,
Yeah,
Colin.
thanks, Lloyd. This was a ton of fun for me.
Appreciate it, man. All right, so yeah, that's it for today's episode. Pasensya na, kapos na time. That is all the time that we have for today. But hopefully, you learned a lot. For tonight, tomorrow, again, it's going to be another episode of The Daily Grind. I'll see you again tomorrow. And as always, let's get rich together. Bye, everyone.
I like that. It's a good motto.
All right. All right, we're good.